Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of Fervently Creations. Today, we have another great guest on today that I'm pretty sure y'all are going to love. But before we go into that, listen, I just want to tell everybody, listen, you are welcome to come on the show anytime that you feel like it. Go to www.ferventlycreations.com. I would love to talk to you. We love bringing people on, and we'd like to see exactly how are you taking the gospel outside of the four walls of the church. As I always open up and say, remember, there is 5 gospels. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and you. Sometimes the only one they pay attention to, the only one that they will give time to is the very last one I mentioned, which is you. So how are you treating them? How are you talking to them? What are you doing outside of the 4 walls of the church? What are you doing outside of the church building? Are you actually doing kingdom? Are you in the schools? Are you in the shopping centers? Are you in business? Are you writing music? Are you writing books? What is it that you're doing? How are you spreading the word of the God, the word of gospel? What I say is, once we think about the gospel, think about the books of the Bible. God was talking to his people. Everything was breathed, it was inspired by the Holy Spirit. God was talking to his people, and his people began to write. God has not stopped speaking to his people, and nor has his people stopped writing, whether it's writing music, whether it's writing books, whether it's poems, whether he's giving you visions for a business, whether he got that Joseph thing and telling you, hey, this is how you prepare for hard times. This is how you go through and make things happen. Listen, he is still speaking. Are you listening? So, of course, before we bring our guest up, I always open up with a Bible verse. Today, our Bible verse is going to come out of Psalms chapter 40, verse 5. It says, "You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous deeds and your thoughts towards us. None can compare with you. I will proclaim and tell of them, yet they are more than can be told." Listen, a lot of times we're taking more time and we're giving credit and we're giving validation to what is going on, what the enemy is doing, and the devil this and the devil tried me, this, that, and another. Are you actually going and saying, you know what, God, thank you? We spend more time complaining than what we actually do in releasing gratitude to God. We spend our words. It's like that movie. I think it was Eddie Murphy, and it was something about 1,000 words or something. Anyway, his words was limited. If your words was limited, how would you spend your words on today? Are you going to spend it giving God praises? Or are you going to start complaining? Are you going to be complaining because it's too cold? Are you going to be complaining because you don't have enough gas? Are you going to be complaining because the girl looked you up and down? Are you going to be complaining because you see a guy in his pants sagging? What are you going to be talking about? How are you using your words? Are you using it to give God gratitude? That's even in our prayer life, right? Sometime in our prayer life, we spend more time talking to God, complaining about what's going on. We spend more time talking to God, asking him for stuff. But do you ever just take the time to say, you know what, God, I just want to thank you. I don't have nothing that I want to ask you for today. I don't have nothing that I want to complain about. I don't have nothing that I need you to move out the way. I just want to tell you thank you. I want it, and I remember one night a little while ago, a few months ago, probably wasn't even probably was a month ago, and I just had what I thought was just a rough day. And as I got ready to lay down, everything that had went wrong started to play in my mind. I said, nope. And I had to start thinking about other things that he had did and begin to start thanking God for these things. As I did that, eventually I dozed off to sleep, but I did it until I dozed off to sleep. I did not allow my mind to do that. Sometimes we have to command our mind to what to think. We have to change what we're saying. Be mindful of your thoughts. So that is just my take on Psalms 40 and 5. Before we go any further, I want to bring up our guest today, our Billboard charting artist, Mr. Rufus Johnson is in the house today. He's in the building today. Mr. Johnson, what do you say about this verse?
Oh man, first off, it's just great to be here. It's great to see you. Great to be here with your platform and your audience. But man, this verse is just blesses me because it just talks about how much God is thinking about us, how much we're on His mind, and how much I think He appreciates just our thank you. He appreciates our gratitude. The song, my single, that's the way I like to approach life and everything. I just want to always, no matter what's going on in your life, there's going to be hard times, but I always want to give God some glory and just sit back and say thank you. It could have been worse. If I, had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't thank you enough. So I just love this verse. I just love what it's saying. I was reading it backstage, and I just love what it's talking about. How wondrous your deeds and thoughts towards. So he has so much gravity of thought. He'll take care of the birds in the air. He'll take care. How much more will he take care of us who he loves? You know what I mean? It doesn't compare. Nothing that we can say or nothing that we can do can compare to his love for us. No matter what, no matter how hype we get, no matter how much we say we love him, no matter how much we do, it still pales in comparison to his love for us.
That's awesome. Another thing that stuck out, it says your wondrous deeds and your thoughts towards us. A lot of times we allow our thoughts towards ourselves. A lot of times we allow the thoughts of other people about us supersede the thoughts of God towards us. And then we wonder why we fall into depression, or we having imposter syndrome, or while we're sitting up there comparing ourselves to people so much, or thinking that we're not doing good or succeeding in life. It's because we have allowed our thoughts we have allowed our thoughts and everybody else's thoughts to have more value than the thoughts of God towards us. And, so that was something, as you was talking, I looked up again and seemed like thoughts towards us, like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another scripture I was thinking about when you were talking just now. His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. So I always tend to feel like some of the things that we trip over in the world, whether it be the news cycle, whether it be social media, whether it be politics or whatever, those things, he's so far above those things. He just wants to know what your heart is about. He just cares about where your heart is. He doesn't care about what's going on. He's already prophesied what's going on in the world, and all those things are already part of prophecy. So he already knows what's going on. He cares about where your heart is. I feel like we can't get caught up on our like earthly thoughts. It's like low level thinking to God. So when it all comes down to it, man, we just have to kind of not worry about the small stuff, if that makes any sense.
Right. And a lot of times we get caught up in the small stuff.
Yeah.
So will you tell the people today who they have the pleasure of listening to, talking with on today?
Sure. Well, my name, I'm simple. I'm a simple dude. I got an old school name. I'm the third. So I'm named after my daddy and my granddaddy. My name is Rufus Johnson. That is my real name. It's not a stage name. It's my real name. I hail from here in Richmond, Virginia. So I'm in VA in the DMV area. Man, I was just born and raised here. I'm a kind of simple dude. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm just a lover of Christ, and I just want to make music and fulfill my purpose. And I just want to make the kind of music that I know as a, I guess I would consider myself I guess kind of hip, cool Christian. I want to make the kind of music that I would want to ride in my car to. And I feel like there's a lot of Christians who are saved, but they want to hear something other than always worship music or church music. They want to hear music through the week that sounds different, or that sounds like some of the stuff they might listen to in the world, but it just has the, what's the movie with Mary Poppins? It says a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. I want to give people the medicine, but I want it to sound sweet.
See, that's me. Like I was simply riding my truck yesterday, and I was like, man, some of this gospel rap and stuff that's out making me want to get my beat back in my truck.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. So where did your love for music come in at?
Man, it's weird. I think I didn't really start singing until about the 7th grade. I joined the choir in school, but I always felt like I had some kind of pull toward music. Both my parents are musical, but not like in a professional way. But I did grow up with music around me, like music playing in the house. It's the holiday season, so I remember my mom playing this little tape with all these Christmas songs on it. I didn't know who they were. I found out later who these people are. But just all these songs, just great music, Nat King Cole and Sam Cooke and all these people that I didn't know who they were. And then as I became a better musician, I started to understand the gravity of what I was hearing. So just like any other Black home, there's music surrounded, there's music in your culture. And I just took a love to it and figured out that I could sing in about the 7th grade because I wanted to sing for the girls, if I'm being honest. And then after that, we were good after that. I tried playing sports. It didn't work for me. But once music got me, I stuck with that.
So did you play any instruments in high school?
Sure. Well, I learned how to play the keyboard basically so I wouldn't have to, so I could sing and play at the same time. That's basically why I learned how to play. So I know how to play the keyboard. I mean, I'm not, I could play for a church service or something. I wouldn't say I'm super like proficient, like I'm running up and down the keyboard, but I can play. I can play well enough to sing and play for myself, and I can play well enough to write songs. So I think that's good.
So what are ways that you give back to the community through your
Oh,
music?
sure. Sure. Well, I mean, if I get invited to things to sing all the time, I'm always doing that. And also I'm a teacher. I'm a school teacher. I feel like I'm always giving back every day. Whether it be just working with kids one-on-one. I'm a choir director at a high school here in Richmond, Virginia. And I'm always working with young talent and bringing my studio stuff to school and videoing them and making videos with them or making recordings with them and trying to turn them on to like just different musical things and some of the things that they may not have at home. I try to bring those things and open their eyes to it, and I try to help get them into college and help see them off to try to chart their path and help them to see some things that they might not see just where they are in their neighborhood or in their house. You know what I mean?
That's good. So you got the whole little Fair East Side little group going
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I try to believe that. Try to think that we're making a difference there because there's really, really great kids everywhere, and they just deserve a chance to see the world like other kids see the world, and just to be able to get out of where they are and just see the world in a bigger place and go to college and just live a life that just just to get a chance to do something better, bigger and better because they've got the skill.
So once it comes to, because your style is more like gospel R&B, right?
Yeah, I'm a saved
So
R&B singer, basically.
once it comes to that, it's kind of like, I'm still going to give you that feel that you like, but I'm fixing to change the message that you're actually engaging in.
Absolutely.
Do you ever get any pushback with that?
I personally haven't, but I feel like I'm very careful about the kind of music. Like I don't want to. I know what music has. It talks to. So I don't want to make music that sounds like it's gonna drive people to do certain behaviors. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're very careful about the kind of music. Is it funky? Yes. I want it funky. I want it to feel like okay, yeah, but I don't want it to be like a slow grind R&B. I don't necessarily because I can't sing gospel lyrics over that. Like I don't want to toe that line. But I try to make
you don't want to sound like it's kind of like a mix between R. Kelly and Keith Sweat. Like
yeah. Like I don't want to go that far. I do want it to sound good, and it might be some 808s that's gonna hit in the trunk. It might be some guitar and some horns and something that sounds funky, like something in the 70s. That's the kind of music I really like. But I still I'm careful about the purpose and what I'm doing. I don't want the music to lead people somewhere else. You know what I mean? So I'm still very careful about that.
So let's talk about two of your singles that you have out. Two separate ones. Let's talk about Thank You, and then let's talk about your new one that just got released, Be All Right. And
yeah,
tell me what was the passion? What drove you on Thank You? Like what was it that once pen and paper got together met, what happened?
Sure. Well, I wish I could tell you some. It's not a super deep story. I wish I could tell you I just had this epiphany about it. Not really. I think all it was just me being obedient. I really did not want to remake Thank You. I wrote Thank You probably back in 2010, 2011. And I had made a previous recording of it. And we didn't do much with it. Was on a project for my church or something like that. But once I was in a group called GI, shout out to GI, and we had some songs. I had some big hits I was on with them, Praying Don't Worry and I'm Ready. And we had an album that we put out. And then once I got married in 2019 and I decided to leave the group, it was my time to kind of branch off. And I knew I wanted to do my own style of music. And that I had served my time in GI and it was great. I learned a lot of stuff. So, but I was still kind of on the fence. I was kind of afraid to even come back and make music. I wasn't sure if I could do it without the fellas or without just on my own. You know what I mean? If I'm being honest, I was kind of not confident about it. So my wife and I were walking. We were in Charlotte. Her parents live in Charlotte. So we were down there. We were taking a walk. This was during the pandemic. And she was like, you need to call your producer. Me and the producer hadn't talked for a while. So she's like, you need to reach out to him and y'all need to get right. And then y'all need to work. You need to take Thank You and work on this. I said, okay. So, we got back right. We talked and we got to work. And I said, man, I know we did Thank You before. Let's redo it. Let's recut it. And I really just want to re-release it. We weren't thinking about radio. We weren't thinking about Billboard. It was just, can I release a song? And we did it. And that's what you hear. And then after we put it out, I think about 6 months later, we decided to say, okay, let's push it to radio. Let's do that. So we did a radio edit of it, shortened it a little bit, made it work for radio. And then we pushed it to radio, and by the grace of God, it made it to number 15, a top 20 song in a song that I didn't even want to do is a testimony within itself. So I think that taught me a lot about obedience, you know what I mean? And even when you don't want to do it in spite of, do it in spite of your fear, do it in spite of whatever you're thinking or feeling. If God says to do it, that means his hand is on it. He's going to bless it.
So what was that feeling once because this is the same one that got voted on the Willie Moore Jr. show, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
What was that feeling?
That's always the thing that my wife and I will say, man, this song that you didn't even want to do, we were walking in Charlotte and you were fighting tooth and nail not to have to do this song. And look where you are. You on Erica Campbell. You done talked to Willie Moore. You done talked to Jacqueline Carr. You've been on all these people's shows, and the song is top 20 in Billboard. I mean, what is that? Like, what is that? So it's cool because I try not to get too hyped because I try to keep my control and keep my composure, but I can't help but just say, God, thank you, man. I could just be in my own way. You know what I mean? By having my own thoughts. And that's the thing again, our thoughts are not his thoughts. He's like, look, fool, stop worrying about, I got you. Just do what I told you to do. Don't worry about everything else. Just do it. And I'm going to take care of it. And he's taking care of it. And that we in it. We in it to win it.
Well, you kind of like missed my next one because I was about to ask, like, so what would you say to someone that is nervous about branching out for the very first time, like trying to get their single out there, just get back in the studio? What would you say to them?
Yeah, man, a couple of things. One thing is do it, of course, try to do it. The second thing is you can't do it alone. If I never got my relationship back right with my producer and just reconnected, you know what I mean? If I never did that, I can't do what he does. I can write a song, but I can't produce a song that's going to sound good on the radio. So you can't do it alone. That could be whatever your team needs to be. My wife is part of my team. So I had to make a decision there. I had to make a decision to commit and to get married because I ran from that for a long time as well. You know what I mean? So made a decision to get married, made a decision to like make relationships right with people, and made a decision to ask for help, to say, hey man, you do this better than me. So I've got this thing I want to do, but I need help getting to the finish line. Can you help me? So, I mean, it's you got to humble yourself. It's just a sense of being humble. You got to humble yourself. You got to get off your high horse and you got to try. If you put a record out and the record doesn't sound like the records that are on the radio, you got to be real with yourself and say, okay, I need help. I need to find a producer. I need to find somebody that can help me get this thing to where I feel like it needs to be. And that's a real thing. A lot of artists may struggle with that, or you want to be the next Prince, or you want to be the next Kanye West, or whoever can produce their own music and do it, or Pharrell, or whoever. And it's like, man, those people are incredible, but it's not that many of them out here that's producing hit records from start to finish on their own. Most of us, we need help. And you have to be able to say, I need help. It's an ego thing, but you got to be able to humble yourself.
And I don't know if it's sometimes it's harder for men to ask for that help.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it was tough. Me and my wife had that conversation a few times before I said, all right, fine, I'll do it. And, I'm glad I did, because you can't make it on your own. You can't do things on your own. And as men, we do have that ego, that machismo, that pride that we fight against. And, you have to get over that, man. And I mean, people who are successful have help. If you go back and read through, people in history, they always had teams of people. Martin Luther King didn't do it alone. He had an organization and a lot of people that did a lot of work whose names are not recognized and mentioned, but they did a lot of legwork for him. Anybody, you know what I mean? Any successful team, it's a team. Everybody has a job, you know what I mean? So you have to embrace that. That's
kind of how like Moses' father-in-law had told him, like, hey, you can't do it on your own, you know, and so but the biggest thing that I love that you are speaking on is the reconciliation, right?
Yeah.
And I think of the story of Paul and I want to say it was Mark, where at one point he separated from Mark, but then he realized, wait a minute, I need Mark for this mission, for this assignment that God has me on. And so sometimes we have to go back and reconcile with someone, or we have to go back and connect with certain people. But a lot of times we let pride get in the way, or we worry about what they said, whoever they is. We worry about what somebody else is going to say, somebody's saying, they saying, or whatever. And just like, no, like it's a purpose behind the connection. And sometimes we have to go back and reconcile relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And today's culture and social media, whatever, would tell you it kind of slightly kind of pushes, oh, you got to let people go and it's toxicity and all that. And that's true. But there may be a time where you have to have space, but there's also still a time where, like you said, there's reconciliation. There may be work that needs to be done between these people. There may be a way that y'all can team up and get purpose done, even though you have different personalities, even though you may have had a falling out before. You have to just mature and get those relationships right. I don't think that's the will of God for the saints' lives.
No, we live in a cutoff season.
Yeah.
I mean, a cutoff generation.
They just cancel everybody. Like, come on, man. Yeah, you can't
let anybody off.
Grace, you have to have grace.
Like, they don't support me, and then you cut them off. It's like, wait a minute, I'm in school working on my doctorate degree. I can't be on social media like that to support you.
Right. Yep.
So let's talk about Be All Right. What is up with that one? This is the new one, right?
It's brand new, brand spanking new, man. Y'all go check it out. It just dropped on Friday, and we really off the heels of Thank You, we wanted to really up the level of everything. So the production level is better. The mixing, the mastering, we spared no expense on all of that stuff, and that's part of what it is. Faith is great, but you also have to invest into yourself and invest into what's going on. So that's what we did. We wanted to really invest in excellence. And so we went and got some excellent people to help us get this song done, get the visuals right, get the way it sounds right. So I think you'll definitely hear the difference between Thank You, as good as that is. You'll hear the difference between Thank You and Be All Right. And that's another challenge that I had, was just being able to embrace the process. I wanted Grammys up front. And it's like, it don't always happen that way. You're going to have a single that gets to a certain level, and then you got to go back and you make the next one better, and then you make the next one better. And it's patience and it's process, and it's the things that you learn along the way. So Be All Right is definitely, we feel like we put even more of a foot forward, more of a purpose. It's more intentional, as it were, to make sure that we're just trying to push the level and keep growing and keep learning. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing on this one. It's my next single, and it's going to bless you.
It's hot. It's hot. Listen, if y'all had listened to it yet, let me tell you, it is hot. How big is consistency once it comes to it?
Ooh, that's always been a thing for me as well. You hitting on some stuff. You really prophesying here. All right, so consistency is always, for me, it's always been a struggle of mine. And being scattered, like I feel like I have a lot of skills. I developed many skills from cameras to photography and videography and production and writing and playing and singing and all of that. And I can do a lot of things well, but I don't do them consistently all the time. So consistency is always a thing. And that's the thing about patience. And you have to put one thing out, even put it out where you are. It's okay. And then next time you learn from it, put out the next thing in a different level, and consistently just work your way up. Thank You is not going to necessarily be a number one. I would have loved that, but for it to get where it got, it was great. Of course, I wanted a number one. Yes, but you have to start where you are. Count your victories, appreciate the victories, and keep climbing and keep going. And it's Willie Moore Jr. told me that one time when I actually interviewed with him. And we were offline. He was like, man, just keep pushing, man. You got to be patient, be consistent. Like you're gonna learn a lot of things in this process, and God is gonna get you ready for the levels and get you ready for things. So you don't want to climb too fast, because that fall back down is gonna be just as fast, if not faster. So I really feel like I'm going through the fire. I'm going through my process of, like, even in my personal life, of just getting things right, getting things straight, maturing, and just becoming a better person along the way. I make mistakes like anybody else, but you're just trying to get to the better place so you can keep growing, so that by the time we get to the place where, God willing, there's a number one, or there's a bigger platform down the line, that I'll be ready for it, and I'll be ready to appreciate it and embrace it and take care of the blessing that is that.
So one of the things that I learned this year was celebrating my wins.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times not looking for nobody else to celebrate me, but just saying, I'm going to celebrate my wins. Cause I had, it's been a crushing season, but it's also been a winning season at the same time. So it's like elevation and crushing going on in the same time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I did, because I produced I wrote a anthology called "Trapped Behind Enemy Lines in My Mind" this year.
Okay.
And it hit number 1 on Amazon. It ranked in 15 categories, 5 of them being international. And so, but my husband was deployed. My kids, schoolwork, but of course, they're teenagers, and I was just like, this is a big win for me.
Yes.
And I went and bought me a cake, and I had them put on there, congratulations, bestseller. And I learned to, wait a minute, you have to start making this a habit of celebrating your wins, no matter how small, how big, or how it looks to anybody else, or I think it's an Instagram or a TikTok thing to say a win is a win. And just saying, you know what, a win is a win, and let me celebrate. And so I don't know how many cakes I done bought myself this year.
Yeah.
Only one birthday, but I done bought myself several cakes this year celebrating my wins. How do you celebrate your wins?
Whoo. That's a good question, because I'm very low key, so I don't like a big fuss, and I like to kind of keep focused. Like, that was cool, but let's keep going. In my mind, I kind of feel that way, but I have to do the same thing, do better with celebrating my wins. One thing I kind of do is, like, I grew up, I love Jordans, right? But I didn't grow up with any Jordans. I couldn't, my parents didn't want to get them for me. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll have little things. I'll be like, man, I'm gonna go get them Jordans I want, and it'll just be that little thing. Or I might get a camera, I might get a lens, or I might get something that is just a thing that says my successes, or the success that I had, made room for me to get this, and it just feels good to be able to just do that and celebrate my wins like that. I'm not necessarily a party person or a cake person, but man, my Amazon list is crazy. I keep stuff on my Amazon list that's on my hit list, so I might be like, let me go ahead and order that. It's in my cart, and I'll celebrate like that sometimes.
See, and my thing is, I hate to shop. I do not like shopping. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm the female that does not like shopping, but I love to eat, and so I take myself out to like Low Country Boy, and so that's my way of celebrating.
Yeah.
So that it's just like. Okay, so another thing that you do, HBCUs.
Yep.
That's a passion of yours, right?
Yes, indeed. Come on, First, I want to shout out to Fayetteville State University, the Broncos, who won the CIAA football championship. So we're not going to just glaze over the fact that my people won, and they are done. I think they went 5 years in a row, and they finally won it. So they have been dope for a long time. But congrats to Fayetteville State. So that's my alma mater in Fayetteville, North Carolina, right down there near Fort Bragg, and Pope Air Force Base and all of that. So that's my stomping ground. That's my second home, man. So I love the Broncos. My wife, she attended Winston-Salem State University, and that's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Rams. And so we came together in 2019 or 2020, and we just really had a heart for HBCUs. We both, in our time that we're talking about how we just the experiences that we had at an HBCU. And I'm 8 years older than my wife, but our experiences were very similar. And we just thought that was so cool that that lineage goes through, and there's so many people that can speak about the people they met, the professors they had, the cafeteria, the football games, the tailgate.
Can we talk about the
the bands and all of that stuff. No matter where you are, if you are at any HBCU, that experience is really the same. So we just said, man, we want to make sure that we want to do our part to make sure that more kids get to experience that. And this was kind of before the wave of HBCUs kind of happened. So we really were in time with what kind of was going on with the NBA and their partnerships with HBCUs and all of that. So we were really right on time, and we kind of caught the wave because it really needs to be highlighted. There are a lot of statistics that say a lot of doctors and lawyers and successful people come from HBCUs. And I'm a product of one. My wife is a product of one. A lot of my teachers are a product of one. My co-workers and colleagues. So there's a lot of success and a lot of love in our culture that doesn't get highlighted. A lot of times we highlight rappers and athletes and stuff like that, and that's cool. But there are heroes right on the ground in your city, at your school, you know what I mean? Right around you in your church. There are people that went to HBCUs and they are doing great strides in their community. So we just want to make sure that we continue to send the next generation to college and do our part. And we want to keep doing it. We've been doing it for 3 years. And we feel like we've just been a blessing. We keep up in our scholarships every year, and we want to continue to do that. And we keep track of the kids, and we just want to make sure that we're sending the top, blessing the creme de la creme, and making sure that they're getting in and they're finishing.
I mean, the HBCU experience is it's an experience.
Yeah.
It's an experience. Me and my husband both went to Alabama A&M. University in Norman, Alabama. I'm originally from Huntsville, Alabama, and so we both went there. We both was in high schools that was considered show bands, and so but eventually we both branched off to the military, and now I go to Liberty University.
Yeah.
But like once our kids got into school, and because where we would move for is in the military, like up there, our kids was in Matoaka High School.
Yeah,
that was then here we're out in the country, and we're like, man, like these bands is killing us.
Yeah,
it's a sound. It's a sound. And it brings the whole football game together. But again, it is a lot of people that are successful people, successful Black people that have went to HBCUs. So, but a lot of times some people are struggling with scholarships. I know my daughter right now is getting different scholarships and stuff, looking. How can people help? I mean, how do you help children with the high school students as they're looking for scholarships?
Yeah, well, so at my high school, we have programs to help those kids, and you really the student, you just have to like lead them and guide them to it. Just a lot of times, our kids have there's a lot of stuff and programs out there for you. It's just a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of opportunity of just knowing to go there. That phone that you have in your hand, that $1,000 computer. It gets you to the entire world. The same way you can TikTok and you can get on Instagram and you can goof around like that. That's cool. But that same way you can get on Google and you can just Google search HBCU scholarships, and there's a plethora of things. It's not just KR Scholars. There's Thurgood Marshall. There's so many things. And especially if you're majoring in STEM, if you're doing the right majors, science, technology, engineering, math, there is a need, and there is a real push and real dollars behind students who want to get into those majors. So it's just a thing of it's just knowledge, getting the knowledge. And I try to talk to my students about it, try to lead them to our programs in my high school where I work. And there's just so much, especially with the influx of attention on HBCUs. It's out here. You just got to get out here and get it. You have to go for it. It's not just going to fall in your lap. You know what I mean? So sometimes, our students they got to get on the ball. You know what I mean? And we got to make sure that we're letting them know where these opportunities are.
And you touched on it a little bit. Can you tell us the mission, your mission statement behind your scholarship program, with you and your wife's scholarship program?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, in just our mission is just to keep the pipeline going for HBCUs. A lot of times we read some facts that a lot of HBCUs are underfunded. Some of the buildings are old and need to be renovated, and they get some funding. Some are state funded, some are privately funded, but it's just a lack of enrollment and a lack of kids staying in school sometimes in our community and our kids. So we just want to continue to send the pipeline and keep that pipeline and influx of good students who are going to stay in school and continue to help thrive so that they can become alumni and keep pumping back into this pride. We don't want this to die. A lot of these schools were created right off the heels of slavery, and a lot of our people couldn't even be educated, and these schools were built to educate Black people in America. So we cannot let it die. We have to keep education at the forefront of African American culture. You know what I mean? We can't We can't let it die. It's great to be an athlete. It's great to be a singer. It's great to be an artist or a rapper. That is all great, but we need education. We need education. Everybody can't be a rapper. You know what I mean? We need doctors and lawyers and social workers and teachers and everybody. We need a little bit of everybody on the ground.
Yes, and I think sometimes we forget like how important, because you know, every like you said, everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to, but I'm noticing with my daughter is a senior this year, and it's a lot of them just saying, "No, I think I'm gonna sit a year out," and it's just like, whoa. And I'm like, I didn't realize how common that is now. That kids are like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit a year out," and you're like, really?
My daughter's a senior too, so it's the same conversations. It's like, you know, the urgency. You can't. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, where are you gonna live? Like, what are you gonna do at 18? And you're gonna, I don't know. Like, I know how it feels. I know there's grace because I've been 18 too. And when I was 17, I didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted to do, but I was a good student. I had a great attitude, and I had a teacher who knew how to get me into school, and that worked itself out. And then all they had to do was open the door for me, and I was kicking it open. I was gone. But you can't afford to. We can't afford to sit out life. We can't afford to do, because it's like there's nothing waiting for you. You know what I mean? You have to get out here. Everybody wants to be an influencer, and it's just like that's cool, but man, like, come on, get your education, get a business degree, learn how to, learn how to learn a skill, learn something that's gonna help you in life outside of that. You know what I mean? That's cool, but I don't know, man. I hate to sound like the old guy because I don't want to feel like I'm out of touch, but
I just like, okay, you see where technology is going, and you see what you just did with this TikTok reel.
Yeah, like, I mean, and I know that's a real thing. There's money to be made there and all of that, but it's just, I don't know. We have to feel like the longevity. We have to just see where it is, and also the management of that. If you can do that and go viral and make money and do that, how do you manage it?
What can you do on a broader level?
Yes. Yeah.
What can you do with electrical engineering or I don't know if I said that right, but what can you do with an engineering degree, or what can you do in other fields? So where do you see yourself 5 years? Where does Mr. Rufus Johnson see himself in 5 years from now?
5 years. I'm a teacher, and I love being a teacher. And I think I would leave the teaching profession only if ministry and the music industry and being an artist and all of that, if I was able to sustain that and it really got to that point, in 5 years, I could see myself out of the teaching profession and just continuing to just follow my dream of like, just continue to be a writer in the industry of music, doing that, but at the right time. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna stick right in the classroom. I'm gonna stay doing what I'm doing and teaching, and I'm gonna continue to provide for my family. But I just want to continue to be a better man. I just had a newborn, and I just want him to be, continuing to get older and grow. I want my daughter to be successful and out of school by the next 5 years, and I just want to continue to live life and just roll with the punches and just do with things that come with just living and being successful. You know what I mean? So it may be another house. It may be just doing more with our scholarship with my wife. I just want everything that I'm doing now to just be at the next level. I've already started it. We're already coasting. We're already in the grind. I just want it all. I want better music, more music, tours, more influence and all of that, more just better everything. I want to send more kids to college. I want my own children to be successful. I just want to just be successful in everything that I'm doing. I want my kids at school to be successful. I just want to be doing it everything I'm doing now at a higher level.
So let's briefly talk before we get out here. Let's briefly talk about balance and teamwork.
Yeah.
Once you were speaking about your wife earlier, you said that like that's my partner. We're a team. Mm-hmm. Once it comes to ministry, once it comes to at home, the balance of still being that team, but still being husband and wife. How does it? What is your advice on that?
Sure. Well, we know how to we try to do our best to balance the things that we do and try to keep things in house. Like we try to do everything in home. Like our home is our home base. That's where we talk. That's where we bring our stress. That's where we bring our fears. That's where we bring um our anything that we're worried about or whatever. We talk about it here at home. And from there, we keep the balance of trying to do everything that we do from here, from home. We try to keep the home life together. We're a team. I take the trash out. I wash the dishes, I cook, she cooks, she cleans up, I clean up, she hold the baby, I'm holding the baby, she putting the baby to sleep. My son's asleep right now. I put him to sleep before I got on here. And it's just and I mean, it's team. We have to be a team. Nobody's meant to do this alone. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
And there's a blessing in getting together with the right person and making a quality decision with who you're going to spend the rest of your life with. It's not you can't take it lightly. Like I said a few minutes ago, that I waited. I got married. Some people would say kind of late. I was about 38 when I finally hung it up and got married. But I'm glad that I did it when I did it, because I did it when I was ready. And I did it with a person that I sat down and I thought about who I'm marrying and why and the purpose. And I did it at the time when it was right for me to do it. And I think my life has gone in a certain direction since I got married because of the right decision. So everything's about choices. Your life is a sum total of the choices you make, and you're not a victim of anything. You make choices and you make decisions. You might be dealt a hand that might be worse than somebody else's, but there's somebody who's dealt a worse hand than you. And there are people who have been successful who were dealt a worse hand than you. So you have to just make your decisions and just go on with your life. And you're going to take some L's, you're going to have some W's, and you just make decisions and you hold yourself accountable and you keep on moving. You're going to be all right.
I was talking to my mom the other day. We was texting and I was telling her that now I understand, like I truly have a new appreciation for it. But in a conversation with someone else, I went a little bit more in detail and was saying, I don't think I could have played the hand that my mom was dealt as well as she did. You know what I'm saying? Because she still ran to Boston with it. Like, right. and she didn't have a good hand, but she ran a Boston with it. And right. I think sometimes you go back and you look, and once you have someone that is a partner and you're able to say, hey, I put the baby to sleep, or I cooked, or she cleaned her. And a lot of times we get caught up in the gender roles and stuff, and we forget to be that team, thinking, okay, well, she's supposed to do X, Y, and Z. And one thing I appreciate my husband for right now is, like, with me being in school, he's still a service member, still active duty military. It's some days that he come home and he's just like, okay, hey, I understand you got this paper that you're working on. I got dinner, or he'll call, hey, what do you want for dinner? Yep. And it does not diminish me or devalue me as a woman. We got a son, so I'm still not allowed to touch the trash, but
yeah.
When it comes to doing stuff, laundry or whatever. And so he helps in that sense to say, you know what, like, this is supposed to be a team. And all the weight is not supposed to be on you. And so I think it's good now that you see more and more men that are more and more couples, let me not say men, more and more couples that are taking off those gender roles that was taught. And I'm not saying if that was a bad thing. Everybody have to do what works for their own home. But now you have more women that are out working, or they're putting in just as much time. Or so, and so that's great.
Yeah, you have to be. It's changed from 50 years ago. I mean, back in the days where, like, the father went out and worked and the mom stayed at home, and that was the household. Yeah, I mean, gender roles are different in that case, but everybody's different now. Like I said, you have women working, you have women who are making more money than the men a lot of times, or they have their own careers and they're doing their own thing. So you have to have in your home. You have to understand. You have to have a teamwork thing. It's how are you going to raise your family successfully? That's the question. However you have to do that is how you do that. You know what I mean? It's not about roles or any of that stuff. When me and you come together, what are we going to do to make sure that we are being successful in our house, that everything runs smoothly on the ship? Who's making the call today? Who's making the call today? What
Yeah.
needs to happen today? What things are no goes for you? What things are no goes for me? I'm the only one that takes the trash out of my house too. Nobody else touches the trash until my son gets a little older. When he start walking, it's gonna be on. But but it's like, but that's I don't mind. That makes sense. I cut the grass. I take the trash out. I clean the cars. Like those are things that I just do. And that's cool. You know what I mean? My wife does a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily do. She's better at things than me. So it's just I don't know. That's just all nonsense, man. I mean, men or women who think like that, you want to be married or you want to be single. Like you better work it out. You better figure it out how to make it happen and figure it out with the right person. You know what I mean? Get married with purpose in mind. You know what I mean? Not because, something happened or, just it's about choices, man. It's about make a choice and then understand the choice you made. I really think that's it.
And I think a lot of times now you have so many divorces because people get married with pleasure in mind.
Yeah.
Like what is the purpose? And I remember one time, going through ups and downs, and God had spoken to me. He said that the purpose is greater than the pain.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, God. Like, but I want to be mad, but I can't because he's telling me, hey, the purpose that I joined you two together, the reason that I connected you is greater than what you actually see in your present, because I need y'all to get, like how you and your wife, right? Your purpose is connected to the HBCUs, the scholarship. Y'all have purpose behind it. And sometimes we get off track and where people are marrying and getting in a relationship off of pleasure,
right,
versus purpose. Like I can't remember who had the song, but it's purpose over pleasure. Like do it has to be purpose over pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. I married my wife for that very reason, man. And I love my wife. It's nothing about not pleasure, none of that. But you can't base your relationship in that. You got to base it in purpose. Like, what are you here to do long term, the rest of your life? What are y'all gonna accomplish together? What are y'all trying to put into the world that made your union worth something? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Your children, how you going to raise them? Are y'all aligned on raising the children? Are you aligned? Are your families similar? You know what I mean? Yeah. How are Christmases going to be? How are holidays going to be? What kind of moments and memories are you going to create for a lifetime so that you leave a trail of success and blessings behind? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like it's just a different gear. You know what I mean? And I'm glad when I got married, I kind of have gotten to that point in that gear in my life to where I was like, okay, I want to marry. If I'm gonna do this and give up all my singleness, it's got to be for the right purpose. It's got to be for the right reason, and it's got to be worth the trade off. You know what I mean?
And a lot of times people going what you bring to the table is like, no, how can we build a table?
Yeah,
how can we build a legacy?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
how can we build? But everybody, what do you already bring? No, how can we build? What does it look like to you? What does the table look like to you? Because your table might not fit my vision. Your table might not fit my dream. Your table may not fit the purpose that God has brought me on earth to do.
Yeah, and that's communication. You know what I mean? You have to be with somebody that, yes, you're attracted to, but you have to be able to talk to them. You know what I mean? And it's the word of God, it lays all this stuff out for us about what we should look for in a wife and the blessing of marriage and what it does for a husband and what it does for a man, and choosing correctly and choosing wisely. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's going to be people who are attractive and all of that stuff. And that comes with it. But with that also, you have to be able to keep your focus on the right things, because sometimes the thing that you're most attracted to is the thing that's the worst thing for you. And, you have to be able to put things in perspective and think long term and think about purpose.
It's like, can I be attracted to your mindset?
Yeah.
And that one, like, can I be attracted to your mind? So before we leave here, can you tell people if they want to connect to you, if they want to book you, if they want to have you on their platforms, on their they have events they want you to attend, how can they connect? How can they reach out to you?
Sure. Well, booking Rufus Johnson at gmail.com, booking Rufus Johnson at gmail.com. You can email that if you want to book. We're working on the website, IamRufusJohnson.com. It's not live quite yet, but once that goes live, you can check back. We'll have apparel there. You have booking there. You have links to all of the Instagram and Facebook and all of that, YouTube channel, all of that stuff. Instagram.com/I am Rufus Johnson. If you want to follow me on IG, you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do some cool videos over there as well. That's I am Rufus Johnson. That's the name of the YouTube channel. What else? krscholars.com. That's the HBCU scholarship my wife and I have. And just I'm available, man. All my music is on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon, Pandora, everywhere. It's everywhere where music is downloaded and sold and streamed. Just check me out there and reach out from there. All of that stuff should align, and you should be able to find me pretty easily.
Well, we thank you. We thank you. Before you leave, what would you like to leave our audience with on today?
Man, there's so many things that we touched on. I mean, just to recap, just get your relationships with people right. You know what I mean? Don't cancel people, give people grace. Get those relationships right. Be consistent with everything that you're doing. Do things afraid. It's okay that you have some fear, but do it anyway. Be consistent, do it at a level, and then have a different level, and don't be afraid to take your time and move in levels. So it's just so many little nuggets of things that we talked about here today. So I hope that one of those things has reached you guys, and that you take something that we talked about here today and you use it to bless your life and continue to be blessed. And that's is my prayer and hope that you're just successful in your life and you follow your dreams and follow your purpose.
Amen. Amen. Well, we thank you. We thank you so much for coming and sitting, chatting with us on tonight. I truly, truly appreciate it. Anytime you got new music or anytime you just want to come back out, listen, please come. Next time, bring your wife. Let's talk about these HBCU scholarships.
Yes, indeed.
So let her know as well that she is welcome on the platform as well. I would love to interview and talk with her as well if she's willing. So
for sure. Let's put it up.
Well, thank you. Listen, everyone, once we bring people on the show, look, we want you to network with them. We want you to connect with them. Networking is not about just connecting people. It's about connecting people with ideas, and people with opportunities. Make sure that you are reaching out to these guests. Or so, like, if you have an event going on, you're putting together a show, whatever it is, if you have kids that are in scholarships, or if you want to know how you can donate to the scholarship, please reach out to them. We put the information up, and I want to just do it one more time for the scholarships. Go to the website, look at it. Also, to book him to book him, and as well as to contact him, please reach out to him as well. So listen, before I get out of here, I do want to ask everyone, hey, do not forget that we have a conference coming up. Let's get that up on the screen. There we go. We have a conference coming up, which is the Prisoner War in the Mind Conference, June 2nd, June 4th, 2023 in Atlanta, Georgia. We have Prophetess Sophia Ruffin as our special guest speaker. We have also a lot of other great, phenomenal people that will be speaking on the platform, to include Bishop Sean Lewis, who is out of Petersburg, Virginia. That's over there in Rufus area. So we got Prophetess Vicki Bells Hart. We got Apostle Dr. Deborah Allen, Apostle Dr. Glenn Allen. We have Minister Gregory Hatnot, Apostle Dr. Jackie Hatnot. We have Minister Sophia Kenyon, and the Drop the Bomb coach, the financial coach Shireen Reeves. So listen, right now we have the early bird special going on. We're only doing 100 early bird tickets. So the first 100, that's it. After that, so go on. We're on Eventbrite. Let me get that up there for you real quick. We have it's on Eventbrite. You can go to powinthemind.eventbrite.com, purchase your ticket. Listen, once you come out, again, I'm all about networking, no matter what it is. So even at this June 2nd is a networking gala. If you come out, make sure you bring your formal attire, but please do not forget to bring your business cards, whether you got a 10K card, whatever it is, electronic. Make sure you bring yourself, so that way you're able to network and connect with other people. Also, I want to say Prisoner of War in the Mind is not only a conference, but originally it started off as an anthology. So we're doing another author call for those that would like to be part of it. The anthology is all about talking about what it is that you have made it through, whatever it is that you survived through. The last one we did, Trapped Behind Enemy Lines in the Mind. We had people talking about molestation, rape. We had a 9/11 survivor. We had people talking about health challenges, domestic abuse, drug addiction, drug dealers. We had so much stuff where people was actually telling you how did they shift their mindset? How did they come from behind captivity? A lot of times once we're in situations, we continue to play that bad circumstance, that bad event, whatever that trauma was, we continue to play it over and over in our head, and it becomes a war zone inside of our mind because we never get past it. So this is what this is about. Tell people how you escaped. What was your release date? When did you get out of the prison that was in your mind? When did you set the little girl free that was in the corner, kneeled down because of some trauma? When did you give her a voice? So you never written before, that's okay. We have an editor. We also have coaching sessions that we'll do to teach you how to write your chapter. You get one chapter in the anthology. You get promotion graphics. You get TV and radio show opportunities, magazine opportunities. But guess what? You also get a chance to write amongst some amazing bestseller authors. All of our speakers that are at the conference are actually our featured authors in the book. So please go to my website, www.ferventlycreations.com. With that being said, we are about to close out of here on today. And I just thank you all again for listening, for coming out, and tune in next time for another episode of Fervently Creations.
My team rap Jesus. We about to go far. My team rap Jesus. My team go hard. My team rap Jesus. We about to go